Chef Richard Miller. Welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. Today we're going to make baked ziti. And one of the things that I've done previously is I've tried to shorten some of these videos down. Because what I used to do is I used to go through everything, like when I did ravioli, from making the pasta, making the stuffing, making the ravioli, and the Alfredo sauce. Well, some people thought those were a bit long. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and let's try to cut these down a little bit. So for this one, what I've done is I did a video earlier where I made pasta sauce. And what I'm using for this, rather than going through the process of making the pasta sauce while you cool your heels and wait, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use what I pre-made. Go watch the video on that and you'll see how easy it is. For the first step we want to do is we want to take and we need to cook our pasta. So I'm putting a couple of tablespoons of oil. And this really is not going to do any purpose other than it does kind of help it from sticking together. And I'm going to put a little salt in there. And that just kind of helps a little bit with the flavor. Not much, because I'm not putting much salt in. Now let's put our pasta in. We'll let this come back up to a boil again, and we'll let it boil for about 10-12 minutes in that. I've got the induction, I got the wattage set up pretty high, so it's going to start boiling again. I switched over and I started using this induction plate for a lot of my, stovetop work, and I like it. I really like it. I'm not getting paid or anything else like that to say it. I'm not endorsing any brand or anything. I'm just saying, hey, the idea of the induction cooking isn't bad. Now we'll make sure that we stir this. And we stir it fairly often because we don't want it to get stuck on the bottom. And that oil we put in is going to help that quite a bit. So let's go ahead and let's cook it. I want to cook it al dente. In other words, it's still going to be firm to the tooth. And I don't want to cook it too much because we're going to put this into a baking dish with the rest of our ingredients and we're going to bake it. So remember, it's still going to cook a little bit in that hour in the oven. So we don't want to make it too mushy here or it's going to be even more mushy when it gets out. So I'm going to cook it for about 10 minutes and then we're going to see what it's like, and if it's okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to strain it and we're going to get to work on our meat. So I'll cut it here so you don't have to wait. Come back soon. Alright, it's been about 12 minutes and the pasta is exactly where I want it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to drain that out into a colander. And now I'm going to put a little oil again in the pan, and I'm going to start browning our meat. And I've got about a pound of sweet Italian sausage in here, and also about a pound of 85% ground beef. Okay, I'm going to turn the wattage of my induction heater up a little bit, and we'll start the browning process. Now, if you're wondering, yes, I did. I put the pork and the ground beef in together. And will I hurt anything? No, because I intend to brown it up and cook it very, very well done in here before I put it in the ziti to bake it. So I don't worry about, having a little pork in there, mainly because it's going to be cooked so well. I put the lid on to trap the heat a little bit. If I wanted to make sure they were browned, well browned with a brown sear, I wouldn't put that on because this is more steaming. But what I'm interested in right now is just cooking it. So putting a lid on there will actually keep the heat in and will help it cook. Okay, I'm breaking it up a little bit since I put it in chunks. I kind of like my ziti and lasagna and my pastas with meat. I don't particularly like the size of meatballs unless they're meatballs, but I don't want it real fine either. I kind of like it in little chunks, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm just breaking it up into little smaller chunks. I'll put the top on and we'll just let it cook some more. Okay, our meat is pretty much done. It's nice and cooked through, but remember, it's going to cook for another hour when we put it in the ziti. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it boil like this for a little bit and kind of reduce the liquid in there. This will take probably about 10 minutes. Alright, the water's mostly boiled out of here now. I'm going to give it another few minutes, and then to make sure that I get everything out so the ziti isn't too moist, I'm going to go ahead and strain it in the colander. I'm still going to drain the fat off in the colander, but let's do that now, and then we'll go ahead and assemble our dish. Okay, now it's time. Let's go ahead and assemble our ziti. Let's go ahead and take, since our pasta is already cooked and our meat is cooked, let's go ahead and put that in there. Now remember the marinara sauce, or the pasta sauce from the previous episode? Well, it's time to put that in there. Alright, now we got to put a few more things. Now we got to put about 1.5 teaspoons of basil. Now I also want to mellow this just a little bit. And so I'm going to take, and I'm putting in about 1/2 cup of ricotta cheese. some of you people who are used to making lasagna often use small curd cottage cheese, just as good. And we're going to start mixing. Now, before we get it mixed too well, I have a couple of other things. Let me move this over here so I'm not right under the light. A couple other things we need to put in is I have about 10 ounces of an Italian mix, which is basically mozzarella and some provolone and some Romano in here. I'm going to put that in, not all of it, because I want some to put on the top. And now I have some sliced Pecorino Romano that I'm also putting in here. But I'm also saving some for the top. Alright, now we have our ziti, and it's pretty much ready to go. I'm going to give it one taste because I want to make sure that it's right. It is. Now, have you ever heard a TV chef ever say that something isn't delicious? Yeah, I haven't either. But I'll tell you what, I'm relying upon your trust and really your friendship, because we're kind of friends, to watch this channel. And if I say something is absolutely yinamo, as Rachel Ray might say, and it turns out to be absolutely pouring the garbage-o, that isn't good either. So believe me, when I say that it's good, it's something that I proudly serve my guests. So, alright. Let's take the rest of our Italian blend and put it on here. The rest of our Pecorino Romano and put it on. And as a last kind of, something to kind of really tingle your taste buds a little, this is a little Parmesan. Alright. Now that we prepared our casserole, I'm going to put some foil over the top of it, such, and I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven for probably about 50-60 minutes, something like that. Now when I'm sure that everything's nice and cooked together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out, I'm going to take the foil out, and then we're going to let the top brown nicely. But until then, I want it covered so that it doesn't dry out in the oven.